Now that we've reviewed naming conventions, this question is going to rely on our focus specifically on ionic compounds. And if you recall, the way that you name ionic compounds is simply by writing out the cation followed by the anion and not taking into consideration any of the prefixes which correspond to the number of each. The subtle distinction between the two different kind of ways that you name ionic compounds is going to be instances where you have a possibility for multiple charges. And if you recall, I mentioned previously that transition metals, which are found in the center of the periodic table, can take on multiple charges or oxidation states. Alkali earth metals also always take on a +1 charge. Alkaline earth metals always take on a 2+ charge. But the metals in the center, the transition metals, those can take on multiple charges, and thus we need to depict which charge that metal has when it's involved in ionic bonding. So, for sodium, sodium is always a 1+ charge. So I know that for this ionic compound, and it's ionic because there's a metal and a nonmetal involved in the bonding, I'm just going to write the cation followed by the anion, which in this case is just sodium fluoride. And remember, for the anions, I'm always changing the ending from fluorine to fluoride. Magnesium is an alkaline earth metal, so it always has a 2+ charge. So again, all I need to do is write the cation followed by the anion. So in this case, magnesium bromide. And remember, for ionic compounds, I don't need to include the prefixes indicating how many of each atom there are. Calcium, again, always 2+ charge. So this is calcium oxide. Again, changing the anion last part to "ide." Copper and titanium, though, are both found in the transition metals. Therefore, their names have to contain the oxidation state or the charge of the metal species contained in parentheses written as a Roman numeral. So oxygen is always a 2- anion. And I know that because it's found over here. Oxygen is always 2-. Same with sulfide is going to be 2-. So if oxygen is 2-, then copper has to be 2+ to balance out to make a neutral compound. So I know that the oxidation state or the charge at copper is 2+, and I need to depict that when writing it by putting copper, the Roman numeral 2, followed by oxide. Because now I know I'm specifically talking about copper 2+, because copper could potentially be other charges because it's a transition metal. Now, for titanium, titanium is a transition metal, could be any charge. There's only one of them. And chlorine is a halogen. And halogens, like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, always take on a 1- charge in their ionic species. So if chlorine is 1-, and there are 4 of them, then the overall charge from the chlorides is going to be 4-. Now, in order to balance out and make a neutral compound, titanium, I then know, must be 4+. So if titanium is 4+, then when I write out this compound, I need to write titanium, put my parentheses, and put the Roman numeral for 4 in that parentheses, followed by chloride.